What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you on an article that is being spread out, and I just want to talk on the validity of it and everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that, let's get right to it. So as it stands right now, Lucid is down 1.81%. Very low volume for today. So 9.4 million shares being traded. 24.7 is the average. At the time of doing this video, there has been no recent SEC filings, press releases, nothing like that. So most likely that is why this article is gaining a lot of momentum. And simply put, it does say Lucid, buy before the upcoming short squeeze. So I know that might be clickbait, but of course, based on my last several videos, I actually have brought up how the short interest has been extremely high for what Lucid does offer. So obviously, I just want to go over this article and take everything that I say with a grain of salt because I am not a financial advisor. So make sure you guys always do your own due diligence. So ultimately, it starts off by giving a quick summary, just the fact that the stock price has gone down almost about 60% over the last year. It does talk on the Q2 numbers, and as it stands, I don't think it really brings this up in this article, but the Q3 numbers are now going to be coming down the pipeline fairly soon, most likely the first to second week of November. So I do anticipate near the end of October, Lucid to announce the actual production and delivery numbers from Q3, but in this article, they more so focus on Q2, and it just talks on how Lucid's expansion is going as planned, which is definitely very true. So once again, this is why I'm kind of doing this video. But in here it goes over the history. So if you do not know anything about Lucid's history, how it started as a SPAC and things like that, highly recommend you reading this. But in here it talks on how the Q2 numbers weren't actually as bad as what a lot of people were really assuming. And compared to the previous year, it has pretty substantial growth. But I think that also has to be taken with a grain of salt because the beginning part of 2022 was also kind of horrible. Majority of 2022, in fact, for Lucid was quite horrible. This is why I think Lucid did get a lot of shorts ingrained in it, and why shorts have probably stuck around longer than what they should have if obviously 2022 didn't really go as planned. But in here it does say Lucid is entering the Middle East. So there is a lot of good catalysts for Lucid. One of which is most recently the 𝗪𝗡 facility having their opening ceremony. They're going to be producing the 5,000 for this year, or at least annually, and going to be having a full capacity, I believe it is by 2025 or 2026, of 155,000. So the majority of, I guess, the production essentially at that time is going to come from the 𝗪𝗡 facility, which will be absolutely huge because, as I've said in the past, that's very good for distribution across Europe, Middle East, basically the whole world, because it also does reduce on cost. So again, there's that aspect that they kind of talk on. And once again, I'm not ever one of those people that just likes to read. Like, you guys can read these articles by yourself. I'm just giving you a quick summary and just adding a piece here or there. But it does say how there is a upcoming Lucid short squeeze. And as I've brought up in the past, they do compare a lot of companies. So this is basically as of August 31st. Things have changed dramatically since then, not necessarily for the better. I cover also Mullen, and they are around 20%. Lucid, I'll touch on that and I'll give you a quick overview, current overview of that. Tesla hasn't really changed too much, but the whole EV sector has been very volatile and kind of a breeding ground for shorts. So I'll give you an overview of what Lucid is currently at for shorts and things that you need to know. So right now, short score is currently, as it loads, 83.4, utilization is 95.29. And just once again, for transparency purposes, there's basically four things that you do need for a squeeze. You need a high utilization, which Lucid does have. You also need a lot of shares being shorted, which Lucid does have. Currently, there is 218.52 million shares. 24.85% of the free float is being shorted. And then just moving on, point number 3, you also need a high cost to borrow. So the cost to borrow average is currently 13.09. Not necessarily the highest, but obviously that is kind of okay relatively. But the fourth thing that you do need is a surprise catalyst. And of course, as I've brought up over the last several videos, there is quite a lot of catalysts coming down the pipeline for Lucid. But once again, I'll touch on that in a second. Currently, shorts are returning 358,000 shares today. So once again, with them returning shares on a red day does signal that they feel that it's an overreaction. Plus, if you kind of look over here under the interactive broker short availability, it does indicate right right now there is only around 300,000 shares available to be shorted. So as I've brought up in the past, I do feel just because maybe a lackluster 2022, shorts have just kind of ingrained themselves in Lucid. And just to put that in perspective, I'll quickly go over to this website, just pull up Lucid, just to give you a good overview. So looking at as far as the short volume, almost every single day it's about 50% plus. In some days it's around 72%, but shorts are ingrained in Lucid. So basically almost about 50+% of the daily volume is attributed to shorts. So shorts play a big role in that. So hopefully they do kind of return some shares and prompt a squeeze because of, with a lot of the good catalysts coming down the pipeline, the fact that they are overextended. But once again, this is just more of a update based on this. So right here, as of August the 31st, it does show Lucid at 23.65%. So things have changed a little bit, but ultimately short sellers have made billions off of Lucid, and that is very accurate, very true. But again, in this article, there's a lot of things that they also do bring up the fact that is going to be coming down the pipeline. And one of which is just the lower interest rates potentially coming in 2024, which in reality for a expanding company such as Lucid, that is huge, underline huge. That would be massive for Lucid if they were to cut the rates. That kind of does mean that they can expand at a faster rate. This is why in Tesla's case, they were kind of the best case scenario. They were able to expand at such a fast rate because the interest rates were extremely low. Whereas in Lucid, they kind of got the crap end of the stick, if that makes sense, especially based on a global kind of viewpoint on that. But ultimately, it looks like they're also going to be expanding into China, which is also, once again, another good catalyst. Something that they do not bring up is the whole Sapphire unveiling and the launch coming out later this month. And then the Gravity. Gravity is going to be a very, very big asset for Lucid and probably be the next big catalyst for the remaining part of 2023 and early part of 2024. So once again, get in while it's still cheap. So as what the PIF has been doing, so their last purchase recently, I believe in Q1. But yeah, there is some risks that it does state in here, such as more dilution, lack of execution, risks as far as the interest rates, because if interest rates do stay relatively stable and at the current rate for obviously maybe majority of 2023, 2024, that could cause a little bit more further expansion issues and just more competition. So they do list some risks. So it's not just all pumping saying that it is going to be a squeeze, but especially with some of the catalysts that is coming down the pipeline and the current kind of overextendedness, if that is even a word for the shorts, I do feel that in reality, there could be something big coming. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think that there could be a squeeze with Lucid? And if so, how high could it go? Because you also have to factor in right now, going over here, the average volume, assuming we are at that, or kind of do that on a daily basis, 24.7 million shares. So as it stands right now, looking here with 218.52 million shares overall being shorted, like if even 40% of the shorts kind of close out the position within a 1 to 2 day time span, that would cause a massive spike up in the stock price. So once again, there's a lot of different things. I'm not going to speculate as far as how high it can go. But if you look at exactly what happened in January, that is kind of a good viewpoint, because at that time, shorts were returning almost about, I think it's about 15 million shares during that spike. So that kind of puts it in perspective on how high essentially it could go. And so once again, just make sure you guys always do your own due diligence at the end of the day. I'll go over some additional data points as of right now. So starting off with options, currently $317,000 in calls being purchased versus 288 in puts. So based on this information, people are anticipating for it to trend up based on this here. So if you are optimistic, this shows all the calls, the strike prices, expiry dates. Based on this, it is anticipated to kind of bounce back to the $5.50 to $6 range by the end of this week. So let me know your thoughts on that. And as far as puts, just wanted to give you a quick overview on this. So individuals that are bearish are anticipating Lucid to be sub $5 by the end of this week. So I kind of feel like that's a little bit far-fetched in my own opinion. And also just wanted to give you a quick overview based on this. Morningstar report just was updated. So it does show the fair market value for Lucid being $7.90 and no recent analyst ratings based on this. So the last being think it was around 15 days ago by RBC. Tom, who does have a 47% success rating, gave a $6 price target. So no real analyst rating. So most likely once Lucid does unveil their actual production numbers for Q3 and delivery numbers, that is when more analysts will kind of give ratings based on that. So let me know your thoughts. If you are looking for a lot of good compiled information, such as analyst ratings, forecasts for upcoming earnings, Morningstar reports, everything under the sun, take a look at Interactive Brokers, link in the description below and also the comments for all of this information to be completely free. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. And with that said, I appreciate all of you watching, and let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.